I have zero pain throughout the entirety of my right arm, which just under 7 weeks ago was opened up from mid forearm to a quarter of the way up the bicep. He's so astounded and not seen anybody heal as fast as this. And that includes people that he's worked on that are elite level athletes. So much so that my surgeon has now actually asked to use me as a case study. I'm going to need the notes for this one because I have to be very careful about what I tell you. What's up, my YouTube babies? No, that's not how we're starting it. So yes, we're back with a recovery video, and this one is one that a lot of you have been requesting and want to know because if you don't know, I have recovered from bicep surgery. I fully detached the long head of my bicep, shot all the way up my arm, and had a lovely surgery to put it back in place, which involved drilling of the bone, stitching it through the bone to a button plate on the other side. This should have taken a minimum of 3 months for me to even start to be mobile with it, and 6 months to 12 months full recovery time. But yet here I am, just over 6 weeks in, I'm back in the gym, I'm lifting weights, I'm fully mobile, and I'm able to move my arms and lift in ways I shouldn't be able to. And I'm going to show you how I've done that with what I've used, techniques, the whole shebang. And it's not anything you can't just do from home. It's nothing magic. Science. Now I know what you're thinking. If any of you are doubting me or my abilities, don't worry, I've got you covered. Ready? Trust level's about to go up 200%. Happy? We're going to start with the supplement side of things, and then we're going to move on to the two heavy hitters I think have had some of the most profound effects on me being able to, one, maintain size, and two, recover so quickly. But that is obviously along the basis of these daily supplementations that I did from the moment I got injured. First up on the list, iron and folic acid. Now, most of the supplements you're going to see today you can get from My Protein, and you can use code Lex Fitness to get yourself a maximum percentage off. It'll be a minimum of like 37, but usually it's up to 50% odd, and it'll always beat whatever's going on the site. If it doesn't, message me and I'll sort it out. Right? So the iron itself, this aids in the formation of hemoglobin. Now we know that's important for recovery. We need the hemoglobin to carry oxygen around the body and keep everything oxygenated. What you might not know is it also helps strengthen your immune system. So whenever we're injured, whenever we're recovering, our immune system is going to take a beating because we're, number one, fighting off whatever's going on a daily basis. It's trying to attack our bodies. Plus, we're also in a state of repair. So that's putting extra stress on the body. So you want to buff your immune system as much as possible so that you're not going to get sick on top of being injured. And one little known thing, which I don't think many of us know about, is the fact that iron can actually improve cognitive function. With all these added together, what you should also see from it is a benefit in energy levels. And that's going to be important, especially when we're recovering, for helping you stay focused and helping you stay on track with your recovery. Now, the folic acid, this is actually a type of vitamin B. One of its major roles is to actually help with the generation of new cells. Obviously, the production of new cells when we're trying to repair something when it's injured, very important. The folic acid also has a preventative effect on new DNA being created. It stops that DNA from actually changing, so it helps us replicate DNA more successfully, which is obviously very important in staying away from things like cancer, because cancer occurs when we get proliferation of cells replicating as they should not. We get those anomalies, and that's what we don't want. So it helps keep our body's replication process in line. And alongside the iron, it also helps maintain the levels of red blood cells within the body. Iron and folic acid, done. Next up, oh shit, zinc. Quick and simple on this one, zinc again helps bolster immune function, so that's again what we want. Zinc also plays a major role in cell division, growth, and wound healing. Something we definitely want after surgeries. Zinc, done. Next, vitamin D. Now this is 4,000 IU level, so that is the one I would suggest that you get, is the 4,000 IUs. Actually, what are the dosages on the other ones? Did you mention that? No, you didn't. Are you stupid? Yes, you are. Iron levels we're dosing here at 14 milligrams, and the folic acid is coming in at 800 micrograms. The zinc dosages were at 50 milligrams per serving. Super. Now, vitamin D, as you should know, we get from going outside into the sunlight, and it's very beneficial, especially against a certain thing that's running right in the world at the moment, known as COVID. That alone is a reason you should be dosing this anyway, but this is something you should be taking on a daily basis. So vitamin D helps keep our bones, teeth, and muscles healthy because it helps with the regulation of the uptake of calcium and phosphate, which is really important, especially when we're coming out of those, again, injury phases where we're looking to repair. It also helps with the resistance against disease, as we said before. So, boom, lots of benefits. Glucosamine HCL and chondroitin. Now, glucosamine, if you've been in the sports side of things for any length of time, you'll have heard of this. We all know it's good for the joints. The reason, though, is because glucosamine and chondroitin are found within connective tissues within the body, especially around the end of the joints, in our cartilage. So these are great preventative measures, but they're also going to be useful whilst, again, we're trying to heal, because not only are they found in the connective tissue, but they also have an anti-inflammatory effect on the body, which can be a huge benefit, obviously, when we're coming out of injuries, surgeries, anything where there's been trauma. Glucosamine HCL has been found to be more bioavailable, so requires less of a dose. There are less studies on this, but everything seems just as promising as the but it's more bioavailable, meaning that the body can uptake it more easily, and we should see faster effects from using the HCL. The chondroitin sulfate, which is alongside glucosamine in this, which is dosed at around about 400 milligrams, it says. Yes, that is great for anti-inflammatory effects, as I spoke of before. But what's also been seen is the fact that this could actually stimulate the production of new cartilage around the joints, which is very exciting, although again, more studies will be needed. So a lot of anti-inflammatory effects there are going to be very beneficial, and preventative measures as well for down the line. So another one that you could have in your daily, or should have in your daily setup. Now, moving on to one of the lesser known but genuinely bigger hitters that you should be taking if you're suffering from an injury, especially like I've had, that includes tendon or ligament damage, and that is collagen. Yep, collagen. Now, what a lot of people don't know is this is one of the most abundant proteins found within the body. It makes up to 90% of the protein that we have inside of us. Now, collagen has had a number of extensive studies done on it. Collagen provides structure for a number of different things in the body, from skin, hair, bones, ligaments, tendons, and even blood vessels. It's actually found in gelatin and within connective tissues of animals that we eat. So if you're not having a high diet in meat or down in gelatin on a regular basis, you probably aren't getting enough collagen. So this is something that should probably be supplemented every day, because this is such an important thing that we tend to neglect. Obviously, when we're coming out of an injury phase, we want as many building blocks in there for the body to work from to be able to heal us as fast as possible. The reason that we're using marine collagen is because some of the best forms are derived from animal or wild-caught seafood, because they provide us with the 16 different types of collagen that are available, whereas some of the other versions contain maybe less than 6, even less sometimes. So be careful. Dosage wise, you're going to be looking at somewhere between 5 to 15 grams. So I like to split the difference and just take 10 grams. One thing you do need to know that's very important, though, if you're going to take this, is that you need to take it alongside vitamin C. Alongside vitamin C, the synthesis of collagen plays a major role in tissue repair. The timings of this also matter. You want to take the collagen around about an hour before you're going to go and train, and you want to take that with 500 milligrams of vitamin C. That's going to give you the best benefit from this product, and it's going to maximize its uptake, which again is going to maximize its ability to help you repair. There was a study done where people were suffering from sarcopenia, which is degradation of the muscle. They were dosed with collagen on a regular basis over a certain period of time that I can't quite remember. The people that were given the collagen supplementation were actually showed to have an improved level of muscle mass. Never mind the fact that if you're healthy and you're dosing collagen, you're going to actually be able to optimize creating even more muscle mass. Added benefits of collagen, not only for repairing, but also if you're looking to gain muscle, this could be a big heavy hitter for you that you've not yet utilized. You wouldn't want to switch completely out from the whey to the collagen, which is why people have them on dose in half and half, is because this is actually quite low in leucine. So this is definitely one of my number one suggestions, just overall, whether you're injured or just trying to develop more muscle mass, or generally just stay injury free and optimize your body's potential. 2 more big hitters to go. The first one being eat. Make sure that you're maintaining a good level of protein, because if you're not, which is what we tend to do when we can't move, when we can't work out the same, we tend to just drop down our calories. We tend to not have the same appetites. You must maintain your food. You have to give your body fuel to heal. So make sure that you're keeping your protein levels up, keeping your calories up, and just getting out and moving as much as possible. The second most important thing that I found is to keep active and stay moving. Even when I was in a cast, I was in a sling, I went out walking, I kept moving. I took the sling off as much as possible to make my shoulder and arm carry its own weight. As long as there was no pain, that's what I did. If I ever started to feel pain, I put the sling back on, again, keeping things sensible. But you need to keep moving. If you stop, that's when things begin to atrophy. That's when things start to go south. If you keep moving, you keep stimulating the body, keep it active, you're going to help keep those hormones up. You're going to help keep that blood flowing around the body. So once you can, you start training everything that you can train other than what is injured. And what that will actually do is carry on with that hormone release. It's going to keep all of your levels high as possible, keeping your calories up again to help support those testosterone levels. That is all still affecting the damaged muscle and helping reduce the level of atrophy that's going to occur. If you let any of those slip, all of these things are going to reduce the level at which you're able to maintain muscle, just like it would if you did that on a normal day-to-day basis. You stop training, things start to shrink. If you look at my right arm compared to my left, there is very, very little difference from the front, and that is because it's only the long head that came off the bone, and it's actually only the long head that is slightly atrophied on my arm. And in the next video I'm going to be going through the measurement differences as I measured them before. We'll now measure them afterwards and we'll see where that is. But visually from this side you can't see much of a difference because the short head has lost basically no mass. It's actually on a long head, so I have less of a peak on a reverse bicep. You know, when you do that one and people look at you from behind. Yeah, I know all the terminologies. Rear double bicep, that's the one. When you do a rear double bicep, you'll see in the next video that the left peak is way higher than the right peak, and that's because that long head is what creates that peak. That is actually the only area that has really lost any size on me, which is very impressive and not what I expected. I genuinely expected to have a comically skinny arm. So this was me just under 7 weeks ago. In hospital, surgery done, in a cast. Then flip to 2 weeks later when the cast was off and I was put into a brace. I started just lifting at home, just with one side. Unable to drive, that's why I was lifting at home. So then once I was able to drive, I transferred that same theory of just training what I could into the gym, utilizing what I could there, obviously making sure that I wasn't loading any weight on the actual arm itself, just training everything else. Then week 4, I started doing some isometric loading. Isometric holds were relatively safe because I wasn't putting any actual load on the tendon that had been operated on, and I wasn't putting it through any range of motion where there would be stress at the extension point, which was the danger area. There's actually not a lot of danger in the flexion. Everything is on extension when you have a bicep repair. So by holding things isometrically and just taking things in and out of the hand, it worked pretty nicely. Then moving further into weeks 5 to 6, I actually started lifting weights, fully going through ranges of motion, but obviously keeping the load light. That is very, very important. Not to be overloading the muscles so that stress goes onto the tendon. I should not have been able to do this, but I understand my body and I understand the fact that every time I went in to see the doctor, he was telling me that I was well ahead. I shouldn't have been able to have the movements I had when I had them. I shouldn't have been able to do the pronation and supination at the times I was able to do it. And that is mainly because I was able to stay active and I knew what my body could do, and I just tested boundaries in a sensible manner. But this is it, 6 weeks in the gym, lifting, no brace, full ranges of motion, just sensibly keeping the load to either a half or a third of the fully functional side. I shouldn't be able to do this for at least a minimum of 3 months, and even at that point the load should be kept to something ridiculous like under 5 pounds. And here we are in the gym lifting on chest, and I think I'm doing something like 35 on the bad side kilos. Not too shabby. But all of these practices, everything that I've told you here, everything I've put into play here, has been a major factor in making that not happen. But there is one more thing we need to talk about. I'm going to need the notes for this one because I have to be very careful about what I tell you, because this is super secret, top secret. No, it's not at all. This is something though that is still classed as experimental. So you need to research this yourself, and you need to look into whether you think it's suitable for what your needs are and also what you're willing to do. But that is peptides, and more companies are now starting to release them in oral forms, and they are becoming much more mainstream. But they haven't been sanctioned by any governing body to be FDA approved or anything like that. So you just have to be careful and do your own research and make up your own minds. But I did utilize BPC 157, which is a pentadecapeptide. Now this pentadecapeptide is actually made up of a group of amino acids, which is found within the human gastric juices. That's where it's originally found. I think it was back in like the 1960s. I'd have to double check that. And now benefits have been seen since it's now able to be synthesized in labs, that it can actually have a numerous and profound benefit to healing wounds and injuries. Now there is a caveat with this. These are only results coming from preclinical studies that have been done on animals and in vitro. So there has been little to no human testing under a professional spotlight. There are, however, a number of people that you can research online, people like Ben Greenfield, who've done extensive practices utilizing peptides and has full protocols and everything you need to know on there. But the benefits of it are directed towards wound healing and also bowel disorders. So this can actually help cure or really help people who suffer from IBS. I personally have known people that have tried it for this and have had great success. And the same, again, going with injuries, both sporting and non-sporting, it's had the same benefit in the healing process. So personally for me, it has worked in my eyes very, very well. So just to reiterate, this is basically classed as experimental at this stage. Although if you do your research, you'll know that a lot of fighters from the UFC and people like that have been utilizing it over the last few years, so much so that it is now prohibited by WADA. So if you are in IOC tested sports or anything like that, you do need to do your research and make sure that it isn't on any list that you can't use. But the major benefits that have been seen from BPC, or what the studies have suggested, is it accelerates wound healing by increasing the vascular flow to damaged tendons and ligaments, which is huge because we know that tendons have not the best blood supply, ligaments dreadful. So anything that we can improve to get blood towards those ligaments, towards the tendons that are injured, anything that's going to help proliferate that is going to be a huge benefit in reducing the time it takes to fully heal those damaged areas. It has actually been shown to promote the outgrowth of tendon fibroblasts. Now fibroblasts are found in most connective tissues. They play a very important role in healing because they help secrete collagen proteins. So now you can see where all these start to tie in together, because these collagen proteins obviously provide that structural framework for repair and healing. So these basically act as extracellular healing by being precursors for the formation of connective tissue, which is what we need for healing. It also has the added benefits of being an anti-inflammatory. It supposedly helps in reducing scar tissue, and it also helps a reduction in pain. So for me personally, I came off the pain medication on day 4. By day 3, I was half dosing it and only taking it at night to help me sleep through. By day 4, I was off it because I don't feel we benefit from pain medication. I feel like knowing where our boundaries are and where those pains sit is a benefit, because then you're able to start moving through ranges that you know your body is capable of doing, and you can slowly start to push those boundaries. When I was in a cast, I used to pronate and supinate as much as I could throughout the day, and I would get to the point of pain, and then I would use my other hand just to hold it at that point and slowly ease it off, let it sink from kind of an 8 out of 10 all the way down to a 4, and I would keep doing that through the day. And by the end of the 2 weeks, I could fully pronate and supinate whilst in the cast quite effectively, to the point where the surgeon was pretty much astonished at how I was even able to move so much by the time I came in to go into the brace. Normally most people struggled with even any slight rotations and had a lot of pain. Myself, I again only really had pain from the button anchor on the other side of the bone and the actual drilling of the bones. Where the bicep was actually reattached in the bicep itself, I had little to zero pain. So the only thing that really caused me an issue, I think, where they cut through the muscle to put the button plate in alongside the bone, the tissue there, which had been damaged, was rubbing over the plate, and that was causing a cramp-like pain to shoot down my arms, which has now completely disappeared. I have zero pain throughout the entirety of my right arm, which just under 7 weeks ago was opened up from mid-forearm to a quarter of the way up the bicep. This is a major piece of work that was done on the arm, and it should not be able to do what it's doing now. But the fact of the matter is it is, and you can. Now for me, I dosed the BPC twice a day for 6 weeks. The reason I chose 6 weeks is just from what I've read in studies, that seems to be an optimal time frame in which to use it, to where you got the most benefits before taking a break. It has been suggested you can run it up to 12 weeks, but personally I think the 6 seems to have been enough for me. And now that I've been able to get back into the gym and start lifting, I'm going to re-implement it again now, just to maintain that protection whilst I start to re-engage the mechanisms of that tendon, and just making sure that after every set, after every lift, that there's no tension in untoward places. So if I am feeling any kind of pain around where the surgery was at that tendon attachment point, I'll back straight off. But at the moment, the only pains I'm feeling is all the way through the long head of the bicep, where that muscle is reactivating, and that's exactly what we want to see. So there you go. That is everything that I have done. Everything that I've done to take what could be a 6-month-long injury and bring it down to 6 weeks. The benefits of this, not only are obviously is it's great to be able to be moving again, but mentally, if I was to be held back for up to 3 to 6 months, I would start to suffer from pretty severe low levels of positive energy, maybe slip into a little bit of a low depressive state. I know that if I'm unable to be active or be able to move forward or be progressive, I start to struggle mentally, and that crosses over into every other aspect of my life. So to be able to get back and recover quickly is not only a benefit to the body, but also my mindset and my mental state day to day, which I think this is where we need to pick up the fact that it's super important that you maximize everything that you're doing on a daily basis. One, to prevent injury. I hope none of you have to deal with this. But two, if it does happen, to know that you have the power, the ability, and the things at your fingertips that you can get from just any high street or online to be able to heal yourself so much faster than they will say you can. Now I'm going to add in here as well, I did tell my surgeon exactly what I was taking all the way through so that he was fully aware. I highly recommend that you be open with everybody and anybody who has anything to do with your injury, because honesty is going to be your friend. So much so that my surgeon has now actually asked to use me as a case study in how effective this healing process has been and the protocol that I've used, because he's so astounded and not seen anybody heal as fast as this. And that includes people that he's worked on that are elite level athletes. Now, I'm not saying that makes me better than elite level athlete. I'm just saying that the protocol I've used has shown that the human body can do amazing things when it's given the correct building blocks and the ability to maximize its potential. I hope that's going to help a number of you guys out, and I hope it's opened a lot of maybe doors to you that you might otherwise not have known about. So go forth, research, do your thing, and just, be aware that yes, things take time, but you always have the ability to do more and be more. So let me know what else you want me to cover in these little videos. I'm kind of enjoying this, sitting down, having a chill out. Hope you're all having a great start to the new year. Let me know in the comment section any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. If you know an answer to a question you see, please go forward and do so. Answer it. That's what we're doing here, building a nice community and a little network of people where we can all share information and positive vibes, and let's have a great freaking year ahead. So that's it for me. I'll catch you in the next video. Let me know what you want to hear about in the comment section below. I'll see you then. Boom, baby.